This is the Patriots Catch-22 podcast with Evan Lazar and Alex Barth.
I'm Evan Lazar. Lazar. Hello, everybody. Nailed it. Joined as always by Alex Barth. That's a fit. That's a match. No risk it, no biscuit.
22.
Here is Evan Lazar and Alex Barth.
Does not having, and maybe Romeo Doubs is good enough that they avoid this, but does not having A.J. Brown or a player of that caliber in their passing arsenal, does that put too much stress on Drake May to elevate what's around him and make the whole thing better? That's a developmental thing. Like, I still feel that Drake May is in a developmental phase of his career. We're not at the point yet where he's bulletproof, that we can just sit here and say we could trade coordinators, we could trade receivers, we could trade whatever, and it won't matter. Like, I don't know if we're fully there yet.
22.
Well, Alex, the Patriots, and therefore yours truly, are going back to Germany. They're going back across the pond.
Guten Tag.
That is the big news here today. Schedule release tomorrow night at 7:30-ish, I think, is the full schedule release. But we found out this morning that the Patriots will be playing a game in Munich, Germany, at the home of FC Bayern Munich, which I think is probably the part of this I'm most looking forward to, is seeing Bayern's stadium and their facility. Like, those big-time European soccer teams have, like, legit stadiums. Like, these are not even bigger and nicer than the ones that we have here. So I assume that place is the Taj Mahal of soccer stadiums, if you will, football stadiums. So very much looking forward to that. So we do have some schedule, let's call it scuttlebutt rumors, some of it confirmed, like the Germany trip. But November 15th, which is week 10 of the NFL season, the Patriots will be playing the Detroit Lions in Munich. I think that there's a couple different things that, just to quickly touch on this opening point. One, I do think it's a little bit of a break to not play the Lions in Detroit. Like, that is a legit home crowd. That place is loud as heck. It is indoors, and it's loud. It's loud, and it's a legit home field advantage in the NFL in Detroit. The last time that we were in Germany, and I would say when we were in London as well, was that 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago. There are a ton of European Patriots fans. So it's not just Patriots fans in Germany. It's also Patriots fans in neighboring countries in Europe as well. And since this is really their only opportunity, they kind of all converge in the area that, London, Germany, whatever. So there's a ton of Patriots fans over there. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the sport gained its popularity in Europe when Tom Brady and Bill Belichick were winning 6 Super Bowls with the Patriots. So it was a popular team to latch on to.
And the Patriots have had some of the more notable German players. Jakob Johnson, the first IPP player to score a touchdown.
I mean, Sebastian Vollmer is definitely
the
biggest, and I'm sure he will be heavily involved in everything that we do over there for the game in November. So pro-Patriot crowd, I think, is possible. You avoid going to Detroit and playing like a true road game against the Lions in Detroit. Not always, but sometimes there's the teams take the bye week the week after that. So it's possible that the Patriots could have a week 11 bye, with week 10 being the game in Germany, which I think would be a nice landing spot for a bye week. Certainly better than the last bye week of the year that they've had the last couple of years. So that would be good. But what is your just overall take on what we know about the schedule? We have no confirmation whatsoever that they are opening the season in Seattle. I know that report is out there. I swear I haven't seen the schedule yet. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if they're playing that game in Seattle or not.
I mean, the reality is, it's like, they're not going to open against the Cardinals, right? So it's basically the Patriots or the Bears are the only two realistic opponents.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
I think it should be the Bears. That would just be a good game, and I think the Super Bowl rematch, week 1, they did that 10 years ago. People widely hated it.
Well, they used to do it pretty regularly. Like 10 years ago was, I think, maybe the last time that they did it.
Yeah, and people didn't like it.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be celebrating the start of a new season. It just doesn't end up feeling that way.
Well, I don't know if that one is true or not, but we do know about Germany. I did see something earlier before we started recording the show about the miles traveled this season, which you basically know, except the international games, what that looks like. And now that we know the entire international slate, I think there's 9 international games this year. Now that we know the entire international slate, the Patriots are 5th in that list, over 27,000 miles they're going to travel this year, because they do have at Seattle, at Chargers, and now Munich on the schedule. So it's going to be a little bit more of a travel heavy schedule this year. Last year we didn't leave the Eastern time zone. We did Nashville.
Nashville was the one, yeah.
New Orleans might be central too. But we didn't leave the
Right. They're
general
27th
area.
in miles traveled last year.
Yeah, so this is going to be a different story. I think that those, to me, I know the schedule thing has picked up steam and has gained popularity. How far you're traveling, when your bye week is, and then one other thing that I think is maybe a little bit should hold more credence than because I know a lot of people also talk about days off. Like, you know, is it a
short week, long week, opponent on a short week, opponent on a long week,
coming off buys, things like that. That's part of it. And then the last thing, the amount of primetime games, especially road primetime games, I think really does matter a lot. Those are grinds. Like, it's a late, long day. You play a primetime game, 8:00 Eastern. You play the game. Let's say the game ends 11:30. You do media, locker room, all that stuff afterwards. Get on the bus, get on a plane. We're pulling into the lot here at Gillette at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes after those primetime games. And then the players, most importantly, have to, wake up and turn around and start the process all over again for the following week. So those late primetime games, and some of the players that are younger players on this team that have been a part of, not a lot of winning until last season, like, they're not a ton of experience. Like, this used to be like a regular commonplace thing when the Patriots were rolling, that they had all these, logistical things to maneuver. That will be a test. Like, if you have multiple primetime games and packed into a short period of time, if you have road primetime games, like, those can be grueling. It can make an impact. So we'll see all those different things about the schedule. No thoughts on Germany? No? None?
Not really. They need
a good matchup.
They haven't won internationally in like 10 years. Their last one was Mexico City, 2017.
I remember that game.
Their last
Brandon
two,
Cooks, Patriots, 2017.
They've lost the last two, so they got to get back to winning, hopefully in Europe again.
Yeah, the last time we were, both of the last times that we were over there were not.
Games,
at least the London game, they started out well in that game.
That was the game where the Jags, 18 runs in a row or something like that?
But the Patriots put some points on the board early in that game. Drake May looked really good out of the gate in that one. I think they drove right down the field and scored on their opening possession. The game in Frankfurt in Germany in 2023 was one of the worst football games I've ever seen. That was professionally, that was it was 10-6, but it felt like it was 0-0. It was an absolutely, I felt bad, honestly, for the fans and for the people that. The paying customers over in Frankfurt. I legitimately felt bad that was the product that they're watching. It does feel like a little bit that the league is trying to put better teams in those games so that they don't have 10-6 clunkers like we did in Frankfurt a couple years ago.
Remember that was the game last year? I think it was Jets Broncos, right? That the Jets had negative 10 passing yards, negative 12 passing yards.
I mean, obviously, we all remember it being capped off by Mac Jones throwing the back foot interception.
Well, so it was back to back. It was Mac Jones through that, and then Bailey Zappi had like the fake spike into 4 defenders. And it's just like, what's going on?
Yeah, the Mac Jones, I think it was Gesicki, right? That was wide open in the end zone behind the safety and short-armed it, and that was that. That was the end. That was the end of Mac for everybody.
Jones,
that was the end for Bill Belichick. That's the end for Mac Jones. That was the end for everybody. So hopefully it goes better this time around. We also have rookie minicamp to talk about. Plenty to discuss there. Alex and I were both there on Saturday. So we'll do a deep dive into rookie minicamp. We did do a show on your show on 98.5. Yeah. So hopefully it's not too redundant of what we just did.
Had some days to process it, to go over things like that.
So we'll touch on that next. And then obviously we'll take your calls and emails as well, and we'll talk, I'm sure, about all the latest news in terms of the AJ Brown and Kyle Williams changing numbers or not changing numbers and all that good stuff when we open the show up. But it's Evan, it's Alex, it's Ace Behind the Glass, and we're rolling. I wanted to start like cold open with the Germany thing because there was news that was exciting here today. And I am excited to go to this one because I've heard a lot of really good things about Munich, like that this is actually a pretty fun trip, and I'm looking forward to it. So a little over 8 hours on the plane is not ideal, but other than that, I'm looking forward to it. So let's get into rookie minicamp. And, we were both there, like I mentioned. They practiced for about 75, 80 minutes. Wasn't a overly long or competitive practice. We did not see, just off the top, just a full disclosure, we did not see Gabe Akis or Eli Raridan participate in this practice. Gabe Akis was physically there, watching, observing, but he was not in practice participating. We did not see Eli Raridan at all. He signed his contract, but he was not out at practice. So those two guys are not going to be in our deep dive here. But let's just go in order. I have some thoughts on pretty much all the draft picks, and then we'll talk about some of the UDFAs and the two tryout guys that they ended up signing to the 90-man roster after rookie minicamp. Let's start at the top, though, with Lomu. I think the big question coming out of this is there anything to him repping at left tackle for now? I don't necessarily think so. They only had 3 tackles out there. Somebody had to play left tackle. They kind of seemed like they just settled on, hey, let's just go out there and get a practice in, and let's not worry about flipping sides, because Crownover did the same thing. He played his college position on the right side. The one thing that I thought that stood out to me about Lomu, though, is that he looks a lot like Will Campbell, honestly. Yeah. Like his dimensions, he's a little bit longer. He's a little bit wider in terms of his actual dimensions. His arm length and his wingspan are a little bit longer than Will Campbell. But I think we can safely kind of say at this point, at least in the top 100-ish picks, like the Patriots sort of have a type right now at tackle with this kind of body type, maybe sacrificing a little bit of length and a little bit of size for athleticism. But my initial impression of Caleb Lomu, along with where he was playing, was I flashed back to last year's rookie minicamp and remembering what Will Campbell looked like at rookie minicamp, and I was kind of like, this looks like we kind of just printed out the same guy here. So they look very similar, honestly.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they are transitioning, and they were already kind of here a bit, but more athletic on the offensive line, right? They had Campbell and Jared Wilson last year, Caleb Lomu this year. Like, that's putting a premium to me on athleticism up front. Yeah. And I think we had talked about, I forget if it was on or off the air, but we definitely talked about this maybe on the show a little bit, like trying to get more athletic up front so they can maximize on Drake May's mobility, do some more rollout, bootleg type stuff. It's going to expand you in the run game as well. Some more of that outside zone stuff. So that seems to be where it's trending. I don't read a ton into him playing left tackle. Like when he's taking left tackle reps next to Elijah Tucker with Drake May under center and Will Campbell's out there, like then we can talk about it. Yeah. It's not like he repped over Will Campbell. I just think, to your point, they're trying to ease him in. It's the first practice. It's also, I say this every time this time of year, and it's the one thing that really annoys me about covering it this time of year. It's not linear. So for all we know, they practice Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. They're cross-training these guys. Friday, they're cross-training. Saturday, they're back to their natural positions. Sunday, they're cross-training again. Right. And we were only out there one day. Like, if you remember last year, do you remember what the big story was from the first day of OTAs last year? No. Drake May threw 4 interceptions in his first 6 passes.
Right. I do remember that.
Which, one, shows you how indicative this time of year can be in terms of results. This year is about usage, where guys playing, who's playing over who, right? If I told you that day, no, it's fine, they're going to the Super Bowl, you would have called me a lunatic. Yeah. The other thing is, I remember then there was a report, I think it was Reese or somebody the next day was like, hey, Drake May bounced back really well, but we didn't see it because we weren't there, and it becomes like Drake May's having this horrible start to minicamp. So it's like, you just have to remember this time of year, or to OTAs, until we get to minicamp, which is 3 days in a row, and then obviously training camp, we're out there every day, like, we're only seeing a sliver. And it's just important to remember that and know this is not just excusing away things you don't want to see, but it is, you're really just looking at the usage and keeping in mind that, hey, we're only seeing a tiny bit of what they're doing. We're probably seeing the stuff, like, we're not seeing the stuff they don't want us to see too, because they can control that a little more. And it's not until you get to minicamp that you get an idea of really how it's all lined up.
Yeah, and plus, I think it's a great point in terms of us not seeing every practice. Like once you get into training camp and you're out there every single day, you start to see how things are stacking, and you can see how that linear progression happens where, a guy is getting reps at this spot, or he's getting more reps yesterday than he did today, and then he gets even more, and you see this progression for players. Right now, we are like parachuting in for one day.
Right.
Then they're taking us out, and then in 3 weeks we're going to parachute in again, and then they're going to take us out. And that's different.
That's what covering the team at this time of year is to me. Like, and when I say this time of year, I mean like in the summer, it's the practices don't exist in a bubble.
Yeah.
We cover training camp as a linear event.
Yeah.
Who's doing better? Who's doing worse? What's changing? And you just don't get as much of an opportunity to do that this time of year.
Yeah, I did, and look, it for what it's worth, right? Obviously, they did do a run game period towards the end of practice that was more at a jog through pace. And they were doing a lot of zone and bootleg and move the pocket. Barrett Morton was back there playing quarterback, and they were doing a lot of that different kind of stuff. Now, are they really thinking, is Josh McDaniels really thinking about, we're going to rep these guys in a certain scheme right now? Like, probably not. And to your point, was the day before a downhill gap scheme day, and then Saturday was the zone day, and this is how we're installing things and all that good stuff as well. So I didn't really have a ton. I don't know if you did. I didn't really want to look too much into like how did Caleb Lomu perform in this practice. Like I'm not great in his blocks right now, right? Like I don't think we're there yet. I wouldn't even really start doing that until they put the pads on in training camp. But just generally, he was there at left tackle, that for the most part, and all that good stuff. The other thing I wanted to do on the talk about on the offensive line, because you try to keep me in check sometimes with getting too excited about the spring, Alex. Yeah. But how excited am I allowed to be about Demetrius Crownover? Because as a guy that appreciates offensive line play, all you need are guys that are just huge sometimes and athletic. And he is huge and athletic. And he's got a lot of seasoning in between there that needs to happen, right? There's a lot of technique stuff that he needs to work on, and he's going to have to learn how to use all of his raw measurables. But I'm excited about what we saw. I'm excited about what he looks like on a practice field. Give this guy to Doug Marrone and Jason Howdeling, their offensive line staff, and let's see if they can develop a day 3 steal, because he's got some freakish measurables, like 35 plus inch arms, athletic kid, played some tight end earlier on in his college career before converting to tackle. How excited you can be about a player out of rookie minicamp in one day of practice. It was exciting to see a guy like that was just humongous and looks like he can move pretty well too.
Yeah, I mean, it's the size stands out. He looks the part of an NFL tackle, and you can't teach size. That's something that's just going to be there. Again, we got to see when the pads come on. I'm going to pump the brakes there a little bit.
Yeah.
Because being athletic and being like, how does it look when he's getting, and they don't really have any speed rushers, I guess, Braden Swinson, but like, how does it look when a speed rusher's coming at him, right?
Yeah.
And can he move with those guys? So we'll see that. But no, seeing him in person, like that's the thing. Obviously the team, they go to the games, they go to the All-Star games, they do all that. But for us, falling on the outside, we can't be at every single scouting event. So for some players, it's our first chance to see him in person.
Yeah.
And I think, what is he listed at? 6'6", 317?
Yeah,
Crown over?
6'7".
I'm taking the over on that.
Yeah.
And that's not to say he's like, I'm not saying he's out of shape. He just looks huge.
Yeah.
He's massive. 6'7", 319, 36-inch arms.
The arm length, it really does stand out.
He's filling out every bit of that and then some. So you got to coach it up.
Yeah.
But ton of good tools to work with.
That's exactly what you're looking for on day 3 of the draft with these picks. Like that to me is how I would, like, I think there's 2 different ways to approach day 3. You're either approaching day 3 to get like culture guys, like guys that are going to fit, guys that maybe are going to play on special teams,
right.
That sort of thing. And the other way to approach day 3 is to just take bets on traits, like pure athletic traits. And I think the 2 guys that they kind of did that with were Prunty, who I want to talk about in a second, He was just like a long, got the long
Yeah.
speed and, top end speed, and also has the length of a good cornerback on the outside. And Crownover, and I really think that if Crownover puts his head down, puts the work in, gets the coaching, takes the coaching, that there's just a lot of tools there that you at least could project him to be a quality swing tackle maybe. And I don't know if I'm ready to go starter yet. Like, that's a long way away. But if you can get a 6th-round pick to be a quality swing tackle, that's a pretty good pick.
Well, Adrian Waddle, I'm going to keep saying that. That's the bar for, like, if they can at least get him there, feel good about where they're at. Ideally, a little more than that, but if they can get him there, feel good about where they're at.
Yeah, they would have, and look, I'm not throwing Marcus Bryan out either, who's also humongous, by the way, in his own right. But Crownover is just
he's also
the current.
They're built differently. Like, Bryan's very like high hips, and like Crownover it
looks athletic,
right?
Yeah, but if you have, let's just take Bryan out of it for a second. If you have Campbell, Lomu, Crownover as your 3 tackles long term, obviously taking Morgan Moses out too because of his age. Like, those are 3 tackles that starting left, starting right, swing tackle that are all going to be on rookie contracts for the next 4 years.
Right.
That's a pretty good thing
You're
to
in
have.
great shape of tackle now.
Yeah, pretty good thing to have. The other story coming out of minicamp, Baron Morton.
Yes.
Do we have a backup quarterback competition in this summer? Or are we too far away from calling it that with Morton?
We're too
against
far,
Tommy DeVito, of
We're
course.
too far away from calling it that. DeVito's played in the league. He has experience that Morton doesn't. But, like, again, I try to tell everybody, Morton might be able to play. The biggest knock on him was not a weakness. It was an unknown. And those are it's a difference.
Yeah.
It's not that he didn't have the arm strength. We didn't know whether or not he had the arm strength. And that was the first thing I wanted to look at when we got out there is how does the ball come out of his hand? Because it wasn't like, I feel like people think of arm strength like how far can you throw the ball, right? Joe Milton could throw it 120 yards.
Yeah.
And that's part of the conversation. But to me, the other part of the conversation is velocity. And can you get good zip on the ball? Because in the NFL, these windows close really quick. And, if you can throw the ball 65 miles an hour versus 60, that might be the difference in hitting some of these windows versus nope, they close by the time you get the ball out. So, again, he's not Joe Milton, but the ball's coming out of his hand with good zip.
Yeah.
And that's, they're jogging half speed, but he's still doing a full throw.
Yeah.
And so I like the way the ball came out of his hand. I thought something he did well in college, even through the injury that you saw, he's able to vary the arm slot without losing accuracy, throws with good anticipation. So at that big unknown, like, okay, you have my attention. Mm-hmm. And maybe not this year, maybe that's a next year thing, but could he light it up in the preseason? Maybe.
Yeah, so he definitely has a nice compact release, and he's got that ability, like you said, to change arm slots, kind of like that sleight of hand too with the ball handling where, if it's a quick screen or it's an RPO in his college system, he has that ability to just kind of quickly get the ball out of his hands and execute fakes well and all that good stuff. I thought he threw the ball pretty well. Like you said on Saturday with some zip, especially in some of those throws that he into the middle of the field. He threw like a really nice dig route to Kyle Dixon into a crowd and was able to just kind of zip it in there on a line. That's what you want to see. I actually went back on Monday and watched more of his college game. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't spend a ton of time watching the 3rd string quarterback when they drafted him.
Okay.
So I went back and watched a little bit more. His bowl game against Oregon was really rough. That was, I think he had 4 turnover-worthy plays in that game alone. But I think that what you saw with him, though, is what you were talking about a little bit. He looks like a guy that hasn't played a ton of football. Because, I didn't really think he saw the field great and was kind of like staring down reads and like, locked on one side of the field and like that sort of thing and was kind of missing stuff, and maybe forcing the ball into some tight windows because he wasn't coming off reads and getting into, the open receivers in the progression. I thought he threw the ball pretty well on the Texas Tech tape, but I just saw some overall inexperience and rawness to his game.
So he has played a lot, though. That's the thing. Like, he was a 4-year starter at Texas Tech. It's just, and he kind of talked about this when we talked to him after practice. He's never really been able to go out there and just play because he's spent most of his career with significant physical limitations.
Yeah.
Played 2 years through a sprained shoulder, then most of last year with a broken leg. And he said, like, it's nice to go out there and just think about football and not how my body feels. So, you know,
maybe that was it. Yeah.
I think that's more it. I think he was forced to play a certain way in college because of those injuries that now isn't something that he has to deal with. He really hasn't been fully healthy since 2022.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I pulled it up right here. All right, it's all about even. Turnover-worthy play percentage by year. 2022, 4.3, then 4.4, then 2.8 in 2024, and then up to 4.5 last year.
Yeah, he had a rough bowl game. I thought he had some really good throws, though, down the field. You know, some of those big-time throws.
Yeah.
Also had a pretty high rate of big-time throws last year at Texas Tech.
6.3%, career high.
He certainly has ability in that respect. I didn't love how he saw the field. I thought he was delayed processing, like I said, a little bit. Some of that also is just the nature of these offenses. They're very screen, bubble screen, RPO, you know, that sort of thing.
Especially Texas Tech.
So it wasn't a ton of like exposure to downfield progression reads and things like that. So maybe he just needs more of it, I think, is just more repping it. But what I thought, you know, impressed me as well as the zip on the ball on Saturdays, I thought he looked like he was kind of getting it pretty well.
Yeah.
And that was not what I saw in the college tape. So maybe he's going to make some strides in that area. I'm not ready to say it's a competition with DeVito yet, but I think that DeVito's got to have a pretty good summer and a good spring.
Oh, I don't think it's impossible we get to that point, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's in play that if DeVito kind of goes the other direction and backslides, and what we saw on Saturday from Morton is kind of how he plays throughout training camp, then maybe there is a scenario where he's the backup and DeVito's the emergency quarterback. Luckily for both of them, they're probably going to keep all three on the roster with the rules the way that they are now. But, you know, that's just the way I looked at that. Moving down now to some more of these day three guys. Wasn't a ton to glean, I don't think, about some of these others. You know, Prunty is playing on the outside. I didn't really see positively or negatively anything out of him necessarily. Maybe I needed to watch him a little bit more. But he was playing on the outside. We have been getting a lot of questions, just big picture. Alex, we got a call in yesterday to PU about this, about their cornerback depth and, you know, where things stand after that, the big three, after the top three of Gonzalez, Davis, and Marcus Jones. You know, how do you feel generally? You know, what did you see, if anything, about Prunty, and how do you feel generally about where their cornerback depth is right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a competition for
There's a lot of names there.
Right. And it's who's the third boundary guy. It's, you know, Charles Woods, Kobe Minor, a lot of these names we've talked about.
Yeah, Charles Woods, Kendall Vildor, Kobe Minor, now Caleb Prunty, the two UDFAs, Canada, Harris, Brendan Crossley is still kicking around. Marcellus Dial's a guy that I don't think we should forget about. Now, he was playing more inside and like kind of nickel safety before he got hurt in camp last summer. But he's a guy that I meant to mention yesterday on PU. I don't think we should totally forget or cross off Marcellus Dial. I thought he was kind of making a push to contribute last year before he got hurt in practice.
Yeah.
If he's healthy and he's, you know, able to get back to that this summer with an entire year off, by the way, you know, because he didn't play at all last year, you would hope that he would be able to get back there. I'm not totally ruling out Marcellus Dial coming out of this group either.
He's a really good special teams player, and that's going to help him make the roster. Yeah, I don't think Prunty stood out one way or the other. It's really tough with these secondary guys in this kind of practice.
Yeah, if they're not getting thrown at, then you're not going to, you know, really.
Big dude, good size.
Yeah.
For a corner.
Good
that
length.
Stands out, long arms. Yep. So they're like physically looks like one of their corners.
Yeah.
Which we kind of knew coming in. That's one but he'll be somebody to watch because I don't feel definitively like any of those guys are positioned over him. Now maybe he's not positioned over them, but again, Minor, Prunty, Crossley, Dial, Vildor, Woods. That's all pretty even. Does anybody there have the advantage over anybody else, do you think, going in?
Maybe slight
Woods
Charles
a little
Woods
bit
lean.
because he was here last year, but they've also brought in all these guys to compete with them.
Yeah.
And then, you know, again, Dial's different because I think he's going to have a special teams edge that's going to help him, but he's going to be in the mix for sure.
Yeah, I think Vildor is also a guy that profiles very similarly to Woods.
Yeah.
And so maybe they see a similar player, body type, that sort of thing. Has a little bit of NFL experience, not a ton, but like has played some snaps in the NFL. So maybe that's, you know, a guy that has I think Woods has the inside track. Maybe
Yeah.
the guy in the lane next to him might be Kendall Vildor right now. And then, it's kind of the rookies and Dial bouncing back
Right.
and everybody else.
The thing, Prunty, is like the size. He has a higher ceiling maybe because of that size. It's just getting there.
Yeah, I on his college tape, I just really worried about the details with him, like the technique, the route anticipation. I mentioned after the draft when we did our draft recap, like he get beat by double moves like once or twice a game, where like the quarterback runs a little stutter and go on him on the outside. The quarterback gives a pump and he's just jumping the route, right? And the guy's behind him. I think there's just a lot of sort of seasoning there. I'll use that word again. That has to go on in terms of seeing it, route anticipation, not taking the cheese, like all those different little things that, if you are doing that in an NFL practice, and let's say 6 weeks from now, he's doing that and AJ Brown's lining up across from him and he hits him with a little slant and go, and you're still biting on those types of double moves, you're going to look silly. Like it's not going to look good for you. So hopefully, they can get that cleaned up.
You
and
hope
he's a
that
player.
and he's a year older than Gonzalez, but
Yeah.
he's talked about, maybe he didn't say looking up to Gonzalez, but like studying Gonzalez and that being somebody Miles' game after.
Yeah.
Obviously, Christian Gonzalez has done a really good job of the film room side of it and kind of studying these receivers and learning the
Right.
routes. So, you hope that's maybe something he picks up from Gonzalez.
Namdi Obiizor. He said he called himself Namdi, so it's Namdi. I'm going with that.
Yeah, and I think it's Obiizer.
Obiizor.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing just again, like about where they were playing more so than what they did. He was playing that weak side role that usually Christian Ellis is in. That is exactly how I see him, and I assume that that's where we're headed with this, is sort of like a weak side linebacker developmental player, obviously a guy that could probably be a core special
Right.
teamer. Basically the path that Christian Ellis has taken in his NFL career. They profile pretty similarly. They're playing similar spots. Again, not a guy that necessarily flashed one way or the other, but I thought it was notable that that's where they're starting him, and that's where they're gonna put him in these practices, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he pretty much nailed it. I think that's it. He's here. They're going to develop him as a coverage linebacker, special teams upside, a little bit on the smaller side, but
Yeah.
sometimes for those coverage linebackers, it's it helps with the movement skills.
I think the thing you worry about with him in terms of his size is he doesn't have he's not very long. So like when you drop in over the middle of the field, like you'd like your linebackers to be able to, almost like a goalie in soccer, like cast
Right.
like a wide net.
It gives you a little more range.
Yeah, right. To like have to throw around them, and he doesn't necessarily have that. Jam Miller, running back, very like almost Dion Lewis-y, like a squatty,
He's
explosive
bigger
guy.
than Lewis. He's
Yeah.
got some mass on
Yeah,
him.
but he was like exactly what I kind of expected. He's what, like 5'9", 5'10", right? He's not a tall dude.
Yeah, but Dion Lewis was 170 pounds?
Dion Lewis though, like he was bigger than he like played bigger than his measurements
I don't
were.
think so. He was quick. He was a jitterbug. Dion Lewis, who by the way is the assistant running backs coach at Albany now. That's kind of
Nice.
cool. Dion Lewis was 195?
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
I thought he was in like the 170s.
I think Jam Miller's a little taller.
5'10", 210. Jam Miller's got like more of a Doug Martin build to me.
Doug, nice. Good pull. I don't want to hate on a guy for rookie minicamp, but they do that.
Yeah, Doug Martin was 5'9", 210.
They do that tackling drill where you see the Patriots do this
Right.
drill. I've seen the Patriots since Mike Vrabel was hired probably do this drill 100 times.
It's like a non-contact Oklahoma, basically.
Yeah, great way to put it. So they put they each they're back to back basically, where the defender is facing one way, the offensive player is facing the other. They toss a ball to the offensive player. He does like a banana curl. He like loops around. The defensive player loops around, and they meet in the middle like in Oklahoma.
Right.
They don't actually hit, but they wrap and they take the right.
Should we go over here and do it?
No,
Show
we
them?
should not.
Oh, okay.
They do the right
You're
angle.
just worried you're gonna get juked out.
Sure. The offensive player is obviously making a guy miss in the phone booth. The defensive
Yeah.
player is not only trying to wrap the guy, but he's also trying to take the right angle and play with the right leverage.
Not bite
and-
on the move.
Yeah, like all that good stuff as well. Watching Jam Miller try to make a guy miss in a phone booth was not great.
Now, Jim Miller's more of a run through you than run by you guy.
But I thought at Alabama, I thought he had a little bit of a jump cut to his game. I thought there was some jump cut ability there. It did not translate in this particular joke. It was one drill. He took like 2 reps, but it did not the side-to-side movement did not exactly
I still think
pop.
just seeing the way he runs with the ball, seeing the way he's built, I want to see him run through a guy rather than run around a guy.
I thought Miles Montgomery looked a little bit like smoother. I thought Jam Miller looked a little bit more linearly explosive. Miles Montgomery looked a little looser, like somebody that was a little bit more fluid with his movements. And then last draft pick here, Q Hutchins, the team released a statement about him this morning.
Yeah.
We're not going to go too far into that. He practiced a little bit, but then was hurt about midway through practice, left practice. So not much else to add to that right now with that situation. So we'll see how that plays out. The UDFAs, Kyle Dixon, kind of the star of the show, if you will, among the UDFAs, the wide receiver from Culver Stockton. But they did also sign 2 tryout players that are also undrafted rookies. Peter Manua, I'm not going to be able to do this. Manamua? Is that how you say it? Manuma.
Thought that was it.
Manuma. And from Hawaii, and Xavier Holmes from James Madison. Let's talk about all 3. Let's start with Dixon, though.
Yeah, Manuma.
Okay. I don't know why that was so difficult for me. Who knows?
Well, they had that other guy, that defensive tackle we were talking about. That
God,
really
there was no way. There was no way.
I kind of wanted them to sign it. He's huge.
He is a big dude.
The guy from FIU.
Yeah, that's what we're going to call him. The guy from FIU, because I can't, not even going to try.
Hang on, I have it right. Well, maybe he's one that comes back around at some point.
Yeah.
Hang on.
I think it was like Ola something or other.
Keep going. Yeah, it was a good
So
start.
I'm going to call him Ola from FIU. That's what I'm going to call him.
Ola Sukonmi Agunloke.
He was huge.
Agunloye.
He was big boy.
Often referred to by the nickname Sue.
Oh, well, that's a lot easier than his other name.
Sue Agunloye. Yeah, no, he's big boy.
Where are you at with Kyle Dixon? Are we full Efton Chisholm star of the summer freight train yet, or are we cooling off on that one?
I'll say the same thing I said about Efton Chisholm. I remember I didn't get hot and bothered about Efton Chisholm last year because it's just I need to see more. I need to see it against higher level competition. It's also the thing this year. There just might not be a path for a UDFA receiver to make the team.
I don't see it, especially if AJ Brown.
AJ Brown's here.
Yeah.
There's some more of these Stephon Diggs rumblings now.
Yeah.
But so who's going to be here? AJ Brown, Mac Hollins, Kyle Williams. I'm going to forget somebody.
AJ Brown, Romeo Dobbs,
Romeo Dobbs.
Kayshawn Booty.
Well, no, definitely going to be here. Definitely going to be here.
Kyle
Hollins,
Williams, Efton Chisholm. So I think you could maybe take Hollins. I think you could maybe take Booty out of that list. And I'm not saying that they're all going to make the team, but I would say in camp, you might have 7 guys for 6 spots.
Right.
Already. And that's
the other
not
thing
including any of these
you say,
UDFAs.
okay, they have to beat out Chisholm or Pop, but the reality is, if you have AJ Brown, if you have Mac Hollins, if you have Kyle Williams, these are all outside guys.
Yeah.
The path to make it is an inside guy. So maybe that helps a Cameron Dorner or Nick DeGennaro. It's going to be even tougher for Dixon. I think Dixon's going to be here. If he doesn't make the team, he's going to be on the practice squad, similar to CJ Dupree last year, who got the same kind of UDFA bonus. But when we talk about maybe these guards or the safeties or the defensive tackles, there's just such a clear path. There's a spot needed to fill on the roster. That's not the case at wide receiver. They're in good shape.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, if they get AJ Brown, and we're going to probably get plenty of calls and emails. I'm already seeing the emails come in about AJ Brown and Diggs. Yeah. If they get AJ Brown, this is honestly one of the best receiving cores that they've had in a long, long time.
Yes.
I said yesterday, probably the 2017 Patriots, when going into Brandon Cooks with Julian Edelman, Gronk at tight end, that was an elite group.
Right.
This isn't quite that because you don't have a Gronk. So
right.
You don't have. I mean, AJ Brown's a great player.
What if they got Brown and Diggs?
Oh yeah, I mean,
and
I think
Brown, Diggs, Dobbs is your top 3. Mac Hollins, Kyle Williams mixing it.
I want to get to that in a second because we were debating that yesterday on PU. Let's just stick with the UDFAs for now, and then we'll circle back to that. Kyle Dixon. The one thing the 2 things I would say about Kyle Dixon. The first thing I thought out of him, basically the guys that were on the field at that position, him, Kibble, Dorner, DeGennaro, he looked the most like an NFL wide receiver, just his body.
Who?
Dixon. Just physically. He's a 6'2", 220, like looks the part, wears the suit. I thought the other guys looked a little small, to be honest. Like, and not like
I mean,
they
they're
didn't fill
smaller
it out.
receivers, but
yeah, you know, it didn't fill it out like he did. I thought he was like explosive in his movements, like you could kind of hear it and see it, that he has a little bit of physicality and explosiveness to him. Attacked the ball pretty well. There was a couple that were not great throws. One of them in particular was like on a quick hitch that was over his head that he had to climb the ladder, go up and get. So the athleticism, you know, the off the bus measurables like that, check that box. Seeing him for the first time, you wondered about that because of where he played, right? Like it's not like we're talking about a UDFA that played in the SEC. So you see those things. I think that's the best compliment I can give to him right now is that he, out of the 4 guys, his body type, his movements looked the most like an NFL wide receiver in a rookie minicamp practice. I wish that we could have seen him against like a top 100 guy, you know, like somebody that was drafted higher, but we didn't have that luxury. But, you know, that's what stood out to me about Dixon was just he looks the part of being on an NFL roster.
for sure. Yeah. Stood apart from the other receivers.
What did you see from the 2 guys that they signed? Xavier Holmes did not flash too much to me.
Xavier Holmes, I mean, it's tough for those line of scrimmage guys in this kind of
The
setting.
only thing that flashed to me about him is that he was wearing 51 at practice. That kind of stood out to me.
Why?
It was Gerard Mayo's number.
Fair.
Yeah.
Manuma's a really smooth mover.
Yeah, he's fast.
Really smooth, natural. He's not just fast. He can change direction. He tracks the ball well. He's a guy that in high school, he's a highly, you know, he went to, I think it's the Chandler School. Like, there's been some other NFL players out of that school. It's like a known pipeline.
Yeah.
Went to but in high school, he played running back, tight end, linebacker, corner, and safety. So he was just an athlete.
Yeah.
And tore it up. And then he was a 4-year player, 3-year starter at Hawaii, multi-year team captain, multi-year All-Mountain West, like a guy that just kind of hit the ground running and has always kind of found a way to make an impact. So you like to see that from guys. They're going to need, like safety depth's a need.
Yeah.
They don't have a ton there. And if he has maybe some upside, like he's definitely going to be able to play special teams. He's totally got special teams makeup. 6 foot 220, good size. He's going to have a chance. I think he's going to have a chance to make the team. I do. So I liked what I saw, and clearly they did too. And I'll be interested to ask Vrabel when we talk to them next, like what he saw specifically in him. But yeah, I like that one. I think that's the kind of guy like you want to get a longer look at.
So you definitely can see like he's one of those guys, not to use the cliche, that kind of like plays with his hair on fire. Like he just plays fast and flies to the football. I'm sure just based off of the fact that he got signed to this contract and skill set and what he looked like in college, he's probably a pretty quick study. Like I assume that he learned it and picked it up pretty quickly for all these things to happen. So you're right. You know, at safety, it's Byard, it's Craig Woodson, Del Pettis. They signed Mike Brown as a free agent, kind of a lesser known free agent. John Saunders and now Manua. Why can't I say his last name? I don't know.
It's literally phonetic. I don't know why you're struggling with that one.
I don't know why.
They have Muma.
I can't tell you. I can't tell you. It just is. It doesn't want to.
But you can do Chad Muma, right?
Yeah, but that's just Muma.
So it's just an extra syllable. Manuma.
I don't know.
Muma and Manuma.
I'm just struggling. Yeah, it's tough.
Oh, I
don't
need
know.
them to be on the field at the same time.
I don't know.
Muma and Manuma.
It's killing me. Like I don't know what to do.
It's phonetic.
I'm not saying that it's logical.
But you're you're struggling. I'm just saying sound it. Like that's when you can just sound it
Manuma.
out. There you go. Manuma.
So they only go 6 deep at safety.
Yeah.
Right now, and
well, 7 was Schooler, but yeah.
I don't count Schooler. But yes, you're right. And then we have Byard and Woodson are kind of in their own tier, obviously, as the starters.
It's who's behind them.
And I think Del Pettis will be here. I think he'll make the team. But Cam Manuma, Mike Brown, can one of these guys push to be a 4th safety, 5th safety, if you want to count Schooler on the roster, maybe even push Del Pettis for playing time, you know, and so as the 3rd safety, true 3rd safety. Maybe Manuma can do it. I think that they like what they saw out of him. Obviously, they signed him.
Did you watch him yet at all? Or
I watched a couple of his games, and you know what? That was what stood out to me was more him coming downhill at the line of scrimmage than him in coverage.
He's an intense player.
Yeah, there was a lot of guys in the safety class that were like that were highly touted players that were more downhill trigger guys. Like the kid from Miami who I'm blanking on.
Jacoby Thomas.
Yeah, Jacoby Thomas, the other kid too from Miami.
It's crazy how these names just
Traden Stukes,
Keontae
Scott, thank you. Traden Stukes, like a lot of guys that were playing safety in college that the number one thing that stands out to you is like their downhill trigger, right? Whether it's blitzing against the run. Manuma was kind of the same way. My guess is that there was so many safeties in that mold in this class that he just had a long shot to get drafted because of that. So he, not a guy that was highly touted. He wasn't in the beast. It wasn't.
He was in there. He was in like the also listed.
Yeah. He was. He had his measurables in there.
I'm a little surprised that he wasn't more
like a pure UDFA. Instead of a tryout.
The interesting thing with him, he never really had the one season where he popped. Which is what these teams are really looking for. Like, do you have that season where you so clearly look above and beyond the competition? And he never really had that. But he had 4 very solid seasons starting as a true freshman. So I think there's something to be said for that consistency and the fact that he kind of figured it out as young as he did. You'd like to see more growth from his freshman year to his senior year, and that's probably why he was off the radar. Yeah. I'm a little surprised looking back it put him off the radar that much. So, unless, again, there could be something else, an injury or whatever that we just don't know about. But
yeah, so that was pretty much it that stood out to me. I mean, some of these other UDFAs, I thought Khalil Jacobs looked kind of like Obi Izor, like a similar kind of player. Yep. I think those two guys are going to be in the competition all summer long. We both kind of clocked David Boyle was pretty small.
Yeah.
Pretty small for a nose tackle.
Well, it didn't help that he was standing next to the giant guy.
Yeah, pretty small. You were clowning on my boy Tanner Arkin during practice, though. You were. He
doesn't change. Like you said about Jam Miller, like going through that drill, he doesn't change direction well.
Okay, but
he's a blocking tight end. That's what he is.
Right, but if he's blocking and he's running the seam and he's running a shallow cross, like, does he need to like be Hunter Henry and be able to break down at the top of the route and like make moves?
He's pretty stiff.
He's stiff, but like, is he going to run routes that are going to ask him to really beat anything else?
No, but where's the room for that guy on the roster? They have that. It's Julian Hill.
Fair enough. I wonder, and I think we're going to get into it, in training camp, like him versus CJ Dupree is interesting. I think they profile pretty similarly in terms of what they're good at. I think Arkin's maybe a little bit better of a college blocker, and Dupree's a little bit more athletic.
Yeah, so Arkin might be better than Dupree, but you're talking about a 4th tight end now.
We are.
We're talking top of keeping a fullback.
Catch-22. We're talking about we're filling out the practice squad.
Well, trust me, these ones are fun. Where it's okay, these two players are battling for who's better. Ultimately, neither of them is probably going to make the roster, but I guess we'll see who's better.
That's what we do. I mean, that's what we do. Like I said about Miles Montgomery, I thought he looked a little bit looser, a little bit more fluid than Jam Miller, maybe a little less explosive, linearly explosive in a straight line. But I thought that he looked okay to me as well. Didn't see a ton. And look, interior offensive line play is not the time or the place for you if you are an interior or defensive or offensive lineman. So Jandarius Morgan was getting reps at right guard with the ones. It was Crownover, Morgan. Who was at center? I think Rizzi was at center, maybe. Yeah. And Lomu, obviously, on the left side there. So Jandarius Morgan was getting reps. I think Mekhi Butler was the other guard that was getting reps. It was a guy that was here last year on the practice squad. So not much to stand out in terms of what their performance, but they were on. I did see Morgan getting a significant amount of run with that top group.
They clearly wanted to take a longer look at him.
And I put top group in quotations for those people that are listening on the audio version.
Top rookie minicamp group.
Yeah, which is, I don't know what, not saying a ton there. Okay, so that was rookie minicamp. There's a pretty good synopsis there of that. Let's take Patty's call, and then we're going to hit the break, and then we'll open the show up to all your calls and emails after that. What's up, Patty? How we doing?
Good. How you guys doing today?
Good.
So I had a big picture question regarding the 2026 season, and it was something that I heard on Callahan's podcast that, who guest hosted it? I think Giardi and Phil Perry were on it. And that is, and they didn't bring this up specifically, they just addressed Drake May going into the second year of Josh McDaniel's system. but are we kind of underrating that as fans, as sports media, as national sports media? Because, I mean, we saw the big jump that he took last year, and I forgot where I heard it, but I heard it somewhere that this past year he was kind of learning on the fly and just playing even as obtuse, or not obtuse, but as broad as McDaniel's system is, he was kind of drinking through a fire hose. And like I said, learning on the fly, and he played great. So is it crazy to think that he could possibly take like another huge leap going into the second year of McDaniel's system? And that's the question I got, guys. I'll take it off air.
Thanks, Pat. Thanks for the call. Okay, it's definitely possible. I wouldn't say that he. How did he categorize it? I wouldn't say that he was overwhelmed by the amount of information.
Right.
I think what I saw, and this is just what I saw, was that I think that there was less information. Like, I think that
they're going to put more on his plate this year.
I think that they went like this with the playbook last year.
Right.
And as somebody that studies their tape every single game of the entire season, by the end of the season, you were starting to see a lot of the same repeat plays pop up on the tape, right? Like, they're running the same thing. Maybe McDaniel's is dressing it up a little bit differently, and it's tweaked the formation, the personnel grouping, whatever the case may be. But go watch like the Super Bowl tape if you can bear it. It's not a great time. I'm not gonna lie. But go watch the Super Bowl tape and watch how many times they run dagger, which is the slot receiver runs a vertical and the outside receiver runs that deep dig. The throw that he made to Mac Hollins on that one touchdown drive they put together at the end of the game, that was on that concept. They must have ran that in the Super Bowl like 8 to 10 times, right? And I think what they're hoping is it's not so much that he was drinking from a fire hose or anything like that. McDaniels has talked about this in the past. It's like filling a bucket with water. Right. And they filled the bucket, like let's say they filled it halfway last year. Well, this year they can fill it the rest of the way. And so now he does the whole birth of the playbook at his disposal and all the different checks and all the different calls at the line of scrimmage and all the different protections and all the different route combinations. And that way there, maybe they get to the end of the season. And I do think this was a factor at the end of the season, because if me as a media person can watch their tape and start to see repeat plays, I can only imagine the repetitiveness to certain coaches that are watching the tape, right? Especially the minutia. Like, I think that in the Super Bowl, my guess is that Seattle saw something on their tape about how they were going to check to slot pressure. And they knew that if they did this with this guy and that with that guy, that it was going to open up a blitz out of the slot. And that's why we saw Devin Witherspoon kind of take over the Super Bowl. Now that the Patriots have that ability to kind of expand on the playbook, hopefully Drake May has the ability to have more answers to the test at the line of scrimmage for these types of things. Hopefully their route combinations and their passing concepts aren't as predictable. They have other things that they're going to run and other things that they're going to go to. Like, they ran like 4 or 5 different plays and they just would spam them like over and over again. And because they were really, really good at executing them for most of the season, and they had good players in those positions, it didn't really burn them until the competition took a step up in the playoffs. And then we obviously saw how much of a struggle it was with the playoffs. So I think it's a factor with Josh McDaniels in the second year in the system. I think it's great for Drake May that he's finally has it. He really hasn't had it going all the way back to college.
Back to high school.
North Carolina switched coordinators on him as well in his 2 years as the full-time starter there. It was the guy at Wisconsin that I'm terrible with names today. The guy at Wisconsin was his first coordinator, Phil Longo.
Yep.
And then he had another coordinator, Scott Chadwick was his coordinator the second year. I think it's Scott. Definitely Chadwick.
That sounds right, yeah.
And he was his second year, and they had to change that, 1 year to the next, and they changed systems on him. This is the first time in a while that he hasn't had to change systems. So I think that that's going to pay huge dividends for him. But I don't think that last year it was necessarily that they were overloading him with information and it was too much for him to absorb. I think they pulled back on what they gave him so that he could handle all of it. I think this year, too, there's going to be less leeway. Like, if he makes a mistake, I don't think that last year they might have overlooked some of the mistakes because it was his first year in the system and he's a young quarterback. I think this year they're gonna coach him harder and that's a good thing. I think that could make them better. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I do want to talk about this A.J. Brown and Stephon Diggs stuff, and then we'll take all your calls and emails as well.
Come welcome our newest restaurant additions at Patriot Place. Estella brings a celebration of flavors with a modern fusion menu, exciting cocktails, and brunch available daily beginning at 11 a.m. Enjoy freshly brewed coffee and Mediterranean-inspired breakfast and lunch from Angel's Cafe. Craving the classics? Chick-fil-A makes it easy to grab your favorite with mobile through, carry-out, and dine-in options. Download the Patriot Place Advantage app for special offers and to earn rewards every time you visit. Patriot Place. Shop, dine, enjoy.
The heaviest metal credit card of all time. Wielded at business dinners like a samurai sword. It's a classic corporate power move. But the real power move? Having end-to-end visibility on your most critical shipments. FedEx, the new power move.
Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right.
DraftKings is all about responsible gaming. It's more fun when it's for fun. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction.
Catch-22.
This is my least favorite time of the year because of this topic. We were just talking on the break about Alex's golf game. And like, this is on the list of things, Ace, that like, I don't care about your fantasy team. I don't care about your golf game. I don't care about your workout regimen.
I don't care about your kids. I don't care about
Evan figured out
the
why
kids one is, around here. You have to make that very clear. Like, good for your son that he played well in his JV baseball game. I don't care. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm the asshole. I don't know, but
someone's got to be, man.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, over here we're talking about. I don't know if we have any golf sponsors, so I don't want to use brands, but you know, Mr. Tiger Woods over here going out there and golfing.
You figured out why the brand Ping is called Ping, so that was.
I mean, I thought that was a layup.
I always kind of figured it, but I never actually bothered to look it up and check.
When it hits the pin.
Yeah. It's sound. It's the sound.
That
I mean, yeah, that was a layup. But it's
a good sound though. You flush it. It's like baseball.
I wouldn't know what that sounds. I don't think I've ever.
You know how that works with baseball.
I mean, vague. I was pretty bad at baseball too.
But you've watched enough. First of all, you probably never played with a metal bat or with a wood bat.
No, never did.
I'm saying, like, if you're watching a baseball game and somebody truly barrels a fastball,
yeah, you know, it's
that sound is one of the best sounds in sports. The golf one's not quite as good, but it's up there. What's the best sound in football?
Somebody getting smacked.
I think it's the pads.
Definitely
Yeah,
the pads.
Yeah.
Definitely that.
Or honestly, like the helmet.
Getting somebody just Sean Taylor, you just lighting
that
a guy.
Crack. Yeah,
you
that's
just,
a good.
I mean, no, I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Right.
But like,
no, even just like you go out there for training camp, first day padded practice, you hear the shoulder pads hitting, and the bigger hits, obviously, it's louder, it's better. Yeah, that was kind of a no-brainer.
Do you know what the other thing that I really is underrated?
I guess some people might say doink. What is
the underrated is when you have a quarterback, like an actual quarterback, like Drake May.
Yeah.
When you hear the ball whizzing.
Zip. That's a good one.
Through the air, like that's when you know that a quarterback's got real arm strength. Because when you can literally hear it
The
out of
average
his hand.
fan doesn't get to experience because, like, you don't hear that on TV.
No.
And, like, even if you're at training camp, you're probably too far away to hear that. Like, you can hear the pads.
It's like if you're on field level and you hear like Drake May uncork a deep ball down the sideline and it's on the sideline that you're on and you can see it coming, you can hear it.
You can hear it a little bit.
Yeah,
but
you can
that's
hear
not
the ball like kind of like whizzing, like almost like a vortex.
Right.
Remember the vortex back in the day? That
it's like a baseball or a golf ball. Like you hear it.
It's like a freaking missile.
But that doesn't really come across on TV.
No,
I don't think I've ever heard that on TV.
It's cool though. Like
it is cool.
Yeah.
But no, best football sound's definitely the pads.
I often think about how much that like these receivers, all their hands are all like jangled up from catching passes.
Right.
They got their fingers are going the wrong way and their palms are all bruised. And I'm like, geez Louise, that looks tough. But let's open the show up to all these calls and emails. 855-PATS-500 is the phone number. And if you want to add some winning furniture to your home lineup, Bob's Discount Furniture has top-rated picks at everyday low prices that ship fast. Shop Bob's to score fan favorites with thousands of real 5-star reviews, like the modular Bob collectional, a customizable sectional packed with perks like charging and cup holders that guarantee a great game day watch party. So stop in or shop online to score 5-star style for less with Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. Alex, obviously a lot of A.J. Brown questions, Diggs questions. Two-parter. One, do you make anything of Kyle Williams deciding to keep 18 and not going to 8? Like
How
he
can
said?
you not?
Let's start there, and then I'll ask my second question. So you are you actually seriously looking into that, or are you just joking?
Well, here's the thing. Twice this offseason, once when they introduced the free agents here.
Yeah.
And then once when he was on with Kay Adams at the league meetings, Elliot Wolf was asked directly, and the exact term that was used was close the door. Do you want to close the door on Stephon Diggs returning to the Patriots? And neither time he definitively said no.
Yeah.
He didn't say like, yeah, we're still talking to him, we want to bring him back. But like he had every chance to say like, we thank Stephon, it was a great year, but we're just, we're moving on. He had every chance in the world to say that, and he didn't. So that puts your antennas up a little bit. And then the Kyle Williams thing, like, yeah, there's some breadcrumbs there. Now, to the Elliot Wolf comments, maybe they don't want to throw him under the bus when he doesn't have a team. And, potential teams see that and like, well, why are the Patriots done with him? They need a receiver. Like, what don't we know?
Right.
So maybe they're trying to do him, help him out. Maybe it's like, okay, if a bunch of guys get hurt in camp, they'd call him. So you don't want to close the door, but it's really an emergency thing. Maybe it's a leverage thing with the Eagles.
So that's what I'm hoping it is.
Right. And it's, hey,
I'm hoping it is like, you're in a little bit of a love triangle.
Right.
Not that I've ever experienced this, but you're in a little bit of a love triangle and you're more interested in the other girl than you're interested in the one girl, but you don't want to get rid of the other girl yet because you're not sure about the main girl. So you're just trying to kind of, leverage it a little bit.
No experience with this?
Right. And so you're just trying to leverage it a little bit. And if I was the Patriots, and I'm not saying they're doing this, so don't put words in my mouth, but if I was the Patriots, I'd be keeping that Diggs door just cracked open a little bit to say to Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles, yeah, we'd like to have A.J. Brown, but we don't need A.J. Brown because we have Diggs. He's right here.
Whether they plan on actually are interested in bringing in Diggs back or not.
Yeah.
Being able to say to the Eagles, oh, you want a first-round pick? We'll call Steph.
Yeah.
Right?
We like him. He was good for us last year.
Now, I still think the ideal situation is both.
Okay, so that was my second question.
But is there some gamesmanship with Steph Diggs where it's like, hey, man,
okay,
we want you back, but we need this leverage with the Eagles. So, like, hang tight.
Let's string this out a little bit.
You don't have to come to OTAs. You can go party and do whatever.
It's a classic keeping it on the back burner.
No, this isn't back burner. This is like, hey, if you don't mind waiting a little bit to sign the contract,
yeah,
you don't have to come to OTAs. You don't have to come to minicamp. You can go chill and hang out and have fun, do whatever you want. You don't have to be in the building. And so he gets an extended little like spring break.
Siesta.
Right.
Yeah.
While the Patriots use this leverage, and then could you imagine? Now we're going totally nuts.
Okay,
now
so
we're going pants off. Hang on.
No, just
the joint A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs introductory press conference.
So let me ask you this, because we talked about this yesterday on PU, and I am in the pro let's just push all the chips in. Let's sign Diggs. Let's trade for AJ Brown, and let's go for this thing.
So you weren't there, I think, last time we did a show.
Paul was very against it.
Okay.
The reason why Paul was against it, I don't want to put words into his mouth, but I'm summarizing what he said as best I can. The reason why Paul was against it was because of the diva personalities. He thought it would be clashing. Like there would be too many cooks in the kitchen.
What happens at that position?
There's only one football. Now you have 3 highly paid receivers in Brown, Dobbs, and Diggs. Are you going to be able to feed all these mouths? I joked and was taken a little bit too literally, but I joked and said, throw it 50 times.
Now you're talking about
just throw it 50 times and let Drake May throw 10 passes to each one of those Pro Bowl receivers.
So you're talking about having Josh McDaniels brush off the 07 playbook.
Yeah, if you're gonna have that 3-headed monster, and maybe Dobbs isn't quite a Pro Bowl receiver.
No, but Dobbs is a third. Dobbs a high level third.
Just sling it, man. I mean, it would be without a question.
Patriots ran the ball the 9th most times in the league in 2007.
Well, they had the lead all the time, so
that's true.
For us, it would be amazing. I mean, covering a team with 2 bona fide star receivers on it would just be incredible.
No, but to go back to it, and I don't want to make too many of these comps because it's obviously very, very, very lofty, but Romeo Dobbs, a different play style, but Romeo Dobbs in the Dante Stallworth role.
Right.
Like Dante Stallworth or Jabbar Gaffney, whoever you want to put in there, I was always partial to Stallworth.
Yeah, me too.
As a third guy,
yeah,
unreal,
solid.
Right? And so if that's Romeo Dobbs, and I'm not saying that AJ Brown and Steph Diggs or Wes Welker and Randy Moss,
right?
But that's kind of the dynamic.
So
and sorry, one more for what it's worth. You talk about what'd you say? Throw the ball 10 times to each of them.
Yeah, sure.
You know how many targets Randy Moss had in 2007? I forgot. This number's insane.
165.
160, which is a lot. How many did Welker have?
145.
Did you know that off the top of your head?
Maybe.
Okay. And then Stallworth still had 75. They threw the ball 580 times.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're just telling Josh McDaniels, go get that playbook out of the attic and run it back.
Yeah, we don't. Who needs to run the ball when you have AJ Brown, Steph Diggs, and Romeo Dobbs and Drake May at your quarterback?
Lawrence Maroney still ran for 835 yards that year.
Ramondre can run wheel routes and stuff out of the backfield, getting the ball somehow. We're spreading the field and we're chucking it, man. I mean that is what we're doing with that offense.
I'm just having some fun comparing them to 07.
Yeah. But I think that, that's in terms of the pantheon of Patriots skill position talent.
Right.
07 is in its own
it's 07
S-tier.
and 10.
But this would be sort of in that in the running for that next group, right?
Right. 10 was the year they had Moss, Welker, Gronk, and Hernandez, right?
They were rookies, Gronk and Hernandez, and Moss was fading, obviously, at that point.
Here.
He was
They had he got traded, but they had all that talent on one team.
Yes, and they
and Deion Branch.
Yes. And then, 2019, they had Antonio Brown and Edelman.
For one game, not even,
Josh Gordon. Literally, not even a full game. It was he played 18 snaps, Antonio Brown.
He still put up 43 points.
Yeah, he was, that was fun. So it would be up there. I don't think that it's going to happen.
Yeah, he had 8 targets in that game.
I came around, just on the surface with AJ Brown and Dobbs. You can see it very easily fit that puzzle fitting together nicely. AJ Brown is kind of your outside guy, down the field receiver. Romeo Dobbs is your inside guy, your chain mover. It's not quite Moss and Welker, but it's the same idea, right? In terms of where they're going to win on the field and where they're going to line up and all that good stuff. Adding Diggs in there, last year he played 52% of the snaps, 51% of the snaps, played a majority of those in the slot. Yeah. Is he the best third receiver in 11 personnel that you could possibly have, right?
Well, wouldn't that be Dobbs? Or you're saying Dobbs and Brown is your...
I think Dobbs and Brown would be your base receivers.
Yeah, probably.
And I think Diggs would be in more of a passing game third receiver, 11 personnel.
Although
role.
you're probably going to run a lot of 11 if you have those guys.
You sure are. I mean, what do you think they ran in 07?
I need this now. This is fun. It would be
we would not have to talk about them not having enough weapons for the first time in 8
And
years.
just think about
like we wouldn't have to talk about them not having enough offensive linemen for the first time in 8 years. Like it would just be like, what this
like a
is
legit offense.
Yeah, like holy crap. Like that's probably the best offense we've ever covered.
And then he still Hunter Henry was coming off a career year. Eli Raridan, who we both like.
It would be great.
I mean,
it'd be loaded.
Am I drooling a little bit here?
It would be a loaded game, a loaded
It
unit.
would be very fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. Like we covered the 18 team, which had Gronk on his last leg with the Patriots. Edelman, still pretty much peak powers. Edelman,
Yeah.
I mean, he won Super Bowl MVP and had a great playoff run. Josh Gordon for 16 weeks or whatever it was on that
between
team.
the 2 years.
But didn't finish the season.
Well, he finished. No, you're right. He didn't.
Yeah, he didn't finish the season.
But didn't he come back the next year for like a week or two?
Yeah, he came back at the beginning of 19. But I don't remember exactly. I think they signed him off the street when they got Josh Gordon.
No, they traded for him.
Oh, because Cleveland still had his rights.
Cleveland still had his rights, and I
Yeah.
think the Browns drafted like somebody notable with that pick.
So when they had Josh Gordon in 18, he was in a lot of ways like that 18 offense was like stuck in the mud for large portions of that season. It didn't fully hit until 19 when it really got stuck in the mud.
Also, the Browns took Nick Scott with that pick.
I think that was a good trade. The 18 offense wasn't great either. And then Josh Gordon, I think people undersell just a tiny bit. Like Josh Gordon wasn't Cleveland Josh Gordon. He wasn't the guy that put up 1,500 yards and led the league in receiving early on in his career with the Browns. But he brought an outside down the field element that team absolutely needed at the time. And he was pretty good in 18. He had a pretty good run there with the Patriots. I think, didn't he catch like a record-breaking touchdown from Brady at some point? Like it was like his 50th different receiver or something. It was one of those.
I think it was Brady's
weird
500th touchdown and the most different receivers. Also, I got that wrong. The Patriots traded a 7th-round pick, or the Browns traded a 7th-round pick with Gordon, which the Patriots then traded. The Browns got Austin Seibert, who was a good player.
Okay. So, yeah, Josh Gordon I thought was, pretty good for where it was in his career. So maybe that team the 18 team would rival this a little bit. I mean, you did still have Gronk. Wasn't quite at the peak of his powers at that point with all the injuries and wear and tear. Edelman was really, really good. Hogan was still on that team.
Yeah.
Josh Gordon was on that team for most of the season. James White, Sony Michel out of the backfield. That was a pretty good group too. But this would be right up there. Question here from Don in Philly. He asks, who would we prefer to have the opener? Daytime, home, away. What opener would we prefer? So the reporting.
Yeah.
Kirk Menenheen saying that they're opening.
I'm sorry, who?
Kirk. Is that how you say it?
You never heard his name pronounced?
Minahan?
Minahan.
Come on, Evan.
I know it's possible to work in Boston media and not know that.
Yeah, now he's going to clown me on his
Also,
podcast because he's a freaking bully. That guy's an asshole. So he's
now you're going to know how to pronounce it.
He's good. Like, talk about me again for the 7th time. Seattle, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what the reporting is.
Yeah.
Let's just assume that it isn't not because of anything that I just said, just to play this game with the emailer. What would be your ideal opener? Because my ideal opener is like 1 o'clock against like Miami or the Jets. Like, let's have a very nice home cushiony. Let's like blow them out and win the game. Like that's where I'm at.
Well, no, even if it is, like I'll rip the NFL for it. I said this earlier in the show. Super Bowl rematch week 1. Bad, stupid, annoying. Don't do it.
Why don't you?
Both teams?
Why are you so
the
against
Broncos
this?
and Panthers talked about this when they did 10 years ago. Everybody's too tight. Playing a familiar opponent week 1. I remember the players explaining it was like weird because it didn't feel like it just felt like a continuation of the previous season, and that's a big game anyway. I don't need it to be the opener. Throw that. It should be early. Throw that Sunday Night Football weeks 3 through 5 is when that game should be.
I guess I am not as they're not in this, like they're not even in the same conference, obviously.
So
like it's not a division game. Like some people don't like the division games out of the chute because they're important. And
right.
It's like,
so here's where I'll contradict myself a little bit. As a rule, I would like an NFC game week 1 and 2 if possible.
Yeah.
Because week 1 we know is weird as hell. 24 Patriots won in week 1, 25 Patriots lost to the team that got the first overall pick in week 1. So I want a game with the least amount of meaning. So I guess I'd rather the Seahawks than say like the Bills, although I think Patriots at Bills week 1 opening the new stadium would be very cool, just as a fan. But like, give me an NFC game. Ideally at home, so you don't have to travel.
So you want an NFC game, but it can't be Seattle.
This is one odd specific situation. As a rule, I usually want an NFC game. I think it being the Super Bowl rematch week 1 for the league, I don't like the league doing that. Especially when it's going to be played on a Wednesday. It feels kind of minor league playing on a Wednesday.
I hate that it's on a Wednesday.
This is my other thing with the NFL, that they're playing all these different days now.
How much is this about your Labor Day weekend plans? So, like, how much is that involved in this? Because let's be honest, let's peel back the curtain. Like, it would affect all of our Labor Day weekends.
5%. This is more this is very much a you take. But like, no, I said this last year. I forget what it was, but like, there was a Super Bowl rematch last year, wasn't there? Between the Chiefs and Eagles. And
there was, but it wasn't week 1.
No, but they were talking about it being a week 1 game leading up, and I said the same thing.
That might have been. Was it
that was late in the year?
That might have been 2 years ago, right? Because
whenever there was a Super Bowl rematch.
I remember the Eagles won the regular season game.
Yeah,
and Nick Sirianni acted like they won the Super Bowl even though they lost. Right. So I think that was 2 years ago.
Conference championship rematch. Go for it. Patriots Broncos, which we know it's not going to be, but like Patriots Broncos week 1 would be very cool. Not the ideal matchup for the Patriots.
Well, that one's not happening. We know that already.
Would be very cool. Yeah. To me, Packers or Vikings.
Okay.
Like a game that doesn't hold as much weight in the standings, but it's still, those are good games, especially Patriots Packers. Like, that's a legit game. There's buzz.
Oh yeah, but I
don't want Super Bowl rematch. That's probably going to happen.
I am totally cool with marching out a tomato can week 1. Like last year, it should have been against the Raiders. That should have been a tomato can. It didn't work out.
That's why I don't want the tomato can week 1. I want the tomato can later in the season when you're banged up and you kind of need a week that you can limp through.
There's something about starting the year 1.
You know what I want the tomato can?
There's just something nice about that.
But it's week 1's too unpredictable. That's why I want the NFC game.
But I think last year the game they lost to the Raiders, they weren't whole yet. Like, they weren't the Patriots that we
Right. So if you're not going to be whole, wouldn't you rather play a game that holds the least weight in the standings? No team's whole week 1.
Okay, but they're like the Raiders.
No team is whole week 1.
Week 1 just doesn't make a difference in the standings anyway, no matter who you play, or.
It's very unpredictable. Like, the Gerard Mayo Patriots beat the Bengals in week 1 of the Gerard Mayo year. Last year, the Patriots that ended up going to the Super Bowl lost to the Raiders, who were the worst team in the league. So it's just it's no rhyme or reason to week 1.
You know what I want? The tomato can.
Yeah.
So who cares?
You know what I want? The tomato can game. Thursday night football.
Well,
Thursday night football at home. That is the best spot.
Well, they owe us
can.
because they put the Patriots played the Jets, the Aaron Rodgers Jets, in a Thursday night game, Gerard Mayo's year.
Yeah.
And the Jets just blew doors off the Patriots in that game. So the Patriots are owed, like, I guess they kind of got it with the Giants. Was that a Monday night or Thursday night?
That was Monday night. No, last year was Thursday night against the Jets.
Against the
Jets. Back from Tampa. That was the rivalries game.
Yeah, and they beat them pretty good that night. It wasn't a good total blowout.
Thursday night football against the Jets or Dolphins is what I'm looking for. Okay. Or do they have any other? They don't really have any true tomato cans on. I guess the Raiders, depending on what you think of Mendoza. But they don't really have any true. I think the schedule's a little easier than people are making it, but they don't have any true tomato cans on here. Because the thing is, like, even if you think, the
schedule is. I agree with that. If
you think the Jags are a tomato can, like, it's still a road game on a Thursday night.
If you go based off of last year's win percentages, is the bane of my existence and the worst way to do it. They have a pretty hard schedule. I think they're 6th toughest. If you go by Vegas win total or some of the analytic models, it's like more middle of the road.
Yeah,
I think Vegas win totals has it at 12. It's not a small thing, and I know people know this, but like, you play 4 games against the Jets and the Dolphins,
right?
And then you also are going to play the Raiders. So even though they lost the Raiders last year, I know they lost the Raiders last year in the opener. We just talked about it. They didn't have Christian Gonzalez. It was wonky. It was a weird game. It was Mike Vrabel's very first game as the coach of the Patriots. It was not what the Patriots we're hoping are going to hit the ground running from last year Patriots that we're going to see in week 1 of September this year. Those are, in my opinion, that's 5 free wins. In theory, you need 9 or 10 wins to make the playoffs, right? Let's call it 10 just to be generous here. You're halfway there just by playing 2 teams in your division twice. So like, even though it is harder than last year, no doubt about it, you still have some games in there that should be extremely winnable, like layup kind of wins.
Yeah.
And so then even if you play those 5 games and you go 5-0 in your 4 games against the Jets, the Dolphins, and the 1 game against the Raiders, then that means that you have to go like 500 the rest of the way, basically, against everybody else to have 10 wins and make the playoffs. Like, that seems pretty doable. So it's 100% a harder schedule. I wouldn't say it's this impossible.
It's harder than last year,
here.
but
it's middle of the road.
It's not like a gauntlet.
No. All right. This email is from Chris, or Colt, I guess. The email says Chris, but his name is Colt here in Shreveport. As we sit in the middle of May post-draft, everyone currently healthy, do we have the players to just get the 1 to 5 yards we need in another year in Josh's system to execute, or are we going to see similar struggles? So I think that he's talking about, short yardage offense, 3rd and 4th down, what they call power situations, right? 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, goal line, which last year was up and down. I think this is why a lot of these guys are here. Reggie Gilliam, Julian Hill, Elijah Vera Tucker, beefing up the offensive line, improving your offensive line. This is when Mike Vrabel talks about we had the explosive plays in the run game, but we didn't have the consistency in the run game. To me, the consistency part he's referencing there is situational football. Like, can we have it when we need it? I think that's why all these guys are here. This is probably the one thing, and removing the AJ Brown from the equation, this is the one thing I'm most optimistic of that they will improve, is being a little bit more consistent and a little bit more have a higher success rate in short yardage running, whether that's goal line, that's 3rd and 1 in the middle of the field, whatever the case may be. I think that's why all those guys were signed and brought in here.
Or even, I kind of took that, you'd have to read it again, but like, I think I heard is like, are they just going to do a better job of staying on schedule and not getting into these 3rd and longs that they, right? How many times last year they in like 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12?
Well, especially in the playoffs. Like, that probably wasn't as much of a problem for them during the regular season because everything went well for them.
No, they had one of the highest rates of like 3rd and long. They just kept converting them because Drake was that good.
They were good at
But
those.
like, that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So I just like them better as a team that can get. How many times do we talk about the run game? Like, there wasn't consistency. They would break these big runs, but in between that, there was nothing. And so they would get stuck.
Yeah.
And, and this is the offensive line upgrades and the fullback and Julian Hill. And, like, I think they're going to have a more sustained run game this year. They'll be able to do more of that. All right, 4 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards.
That's certainly the hope.
They need more of that sustained run game. And I do think they made a point in their additions this year of, like, being better at that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what the idea is there. Here's an email from Bart and Poland. He's got a bone to pick with you, Alex.
Okay.
So he said that last week we were talking about candidates to be the Patriots of last year, like the worst to first, candidates. We brought up the Tennessee Titans. We talked about them a little bit.
People got really mad I said that the Titans play in a weak division.
Yeah, he's mad about it. He said that's exactly what he's mad about. While I agree, one of his points is that they play in a bad division. Are you serious, Alex? I know it's a stereotype that the South divisions are always bad, but for me, the AFC South has a better case to be called the best division in football than the worst. The Texans were a playoff team, have the best defense in football, and have a very good offseason. The Jags won 13 games last year. The Colts were the number 1 seed before Daniel Jones' injury. Come on, man, that's just lazy. I am probably in the middle of the two of you. If you said that, I don't remember if you said that it was a bad division.
They play in a bad division, or what I think will be a bad division. The Colts are not going to be good this year. Who knows what the hell Daniel Jones is going to look like?
That's fair.
They lost, players this offseason. I've been I've liked what the Texans have done, and their defense is still elite.
Yep.
What the hell is going on with that offense? You have uncertainty around C.J. Stroud looming over that whole thing. How do you feel going into the year? Do you feel better about the Texans now, or how you felt about them last year? Are they a regression candidate or an improvement candidate?
Well, I think that they're probably a team that's stagnant right now, and that's not necessarily meant to be a compliment.
They won 12 games last year, more or less this year, if you had to guess.
I'd say less if I have to guess.
The Colts won 8 games last year, more or less this year, if you had to guess.
Same.
Less. The Jaguars, 13-4. They alternate being good and bad. Less. Right.
I don't think
I said they were the worst division of football. Yeah, no, they're not the worst division.
They're not the worst
That's the
division
NFC South. But, like, I see 3 teams primed for regression. And, by the way, isn't that kind of what helped the Patriots? The Bills regressed. The Dolphins regressed. The Jets.
Yeah.
Like, no, I stand by, I don't know, if I said a very bad division, maybe I didn't need very. That division, to me, screams regression outside of the Titans. And I think Titans, 3 wins last year, more or less.
More.
Right. I think the Jaguars, the Texans, and Colts are all, you could tell me on the Jaguars beat 13 wins a lot. Maybe they don't regress a lot, but like I think all 3 of those teams project to win fewer games this year. I don't know what the Vegas totals are, but I think they all project to win fewer games than they did last year. And so somebody's going to benefit from that, and the Titans are right there.
So the thing about the Texans is that their defense is dominant. Their defense is going to keep them in games. I don't know what they're doing offensively, both from a roster building standpoint and a coaching standpoint. Right. And CJ Stroud seems like he's kind of broken. I think they've just like stagnated. Like that program, they came in hot. You know, Nick Caserio makes those trades he drafts Stroud, trades back up for Will Anderson. D'Amico Ryans is like the belle of the ball, right? You know, he's this great hot shot coaching candidate that they get. And then all of a sudden that whole thing has just kind of stagnated. And people talk about the Patriots as sort of being a paper tiger last year. They dominated the Texans here last year. Like they turned CJ Stroud over 5-6 times.
Was that a blueprint game?
Well, I'm just saying like
I'm saying it might have been a blueprint game.
If the Patriots were considered a team that was overachieved and was a little bit of a paper tiger, what's that make the Texans?
And by the way, just because I pulled it up, Vegas odds here, according to SI, these were published on April 30th, so after the draft, a couple weeks ago, but after the draft. Colts last year won 8 games. Their Vegas total 7.5. Jaguars last year won 13 games. Their Vegas total is 9.5. The Texans last year won 12 games. Their total is 9.5. And then the Tennessee Titans should be on here somewhere. Won 3 games last year. Their total is 6.5. So I'm not the only one saying this. All 3 of those teams, according to Vegas, going to win fewer games this year than they did last year.
The Jaguars, do you believe in them? Do you believe in Liam Cohen?
I find it. The Jaguars are a circus.
Should he keep his head held high?
Oh, I forgot about that. The Jaguars are so unpredictable. They've been for years. And the talent on the roster doesn't matter. They're going to be good one year, then bad the next, then good one year. I don't know what the hell's going to happen with the Jaguars. I don't think they're going to win 13 games again, though.
No, just like I don't think the Patriots are going to win 14.
No, by the way, the Patriots probably going to win less.
I look at the Jaguars as a team that still has a little bit of that Jaguars on them.
Yeah.
Where like for example, like this whole Travis Hunter thing.
Right.
They trade a bunch for this player. They draft Travis Hunter. Whether they didn't have a plan for him or he didn't live up to the hype, so the plan didn't match what the player was once they got, regardless of the case of all that, the Travis Hunter thing is already kind of a disaster for them. And I know it's only 1 year in and maybe disaster is a little bit strong, but it's not going great. Like they don't really know where he's going to play. He got hurt last year. They gave up a boatload of picks to go get him. It's just kind of all over the place with it right now with Travis Hunter. And I'd be the first one to put I thought he was going to be a blue chip. I thought he was a stud. Like, you know, maybe I was wrong about him too. They can't really figure that thing out yet. Brian Thomas Jr. was this like really like impressive rookie receiver, like breakout rookie receiver. Yeah. He regressed last year. He's in trade rumors all off season. Like this is Jaguars. Like that's just Jaguars. Like, you know, you're just doing Jaguars things. And I'm not just totally sold that they have that regime pointed in the right direction yet. So like I said, I'm kind of in the middle of you and Bart. But I think I don't necessarily look at the AFC South as a bunch of gangbusters.
I don't look at it as just, again, if I called it very weak, maybe I shouldn't have used very. I don't think it's as good of a division as it was last year.
So I'm putting us both on the spot here because I didn't really think of this before. But like we all agree the NFC West is probably the best division in football, right?
Yeah.
So I would say NFC West.
It's the NFC West or the NFC North. Yeah.
Those are probably the two best.
Depending on what the hell happens with the Vikings.
But the Vikings are always like competent. Like they're not. Last year they won 9 games.
Yeah.
So they're not like a complete disaster.
Right. Even with JJ McCarthy.
Yeah. The Cardinals are kind of a complete disaster. So but the
Seahawks, Rams, and Niners are all probably
elite.
Better than any team in the North.
Top 10 teams in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Back to the phones here.
So wait, who is the weakest division? NFC South?
NFC South, I think. I mean, didn't the Panthers win it with a sub 500 record last year? Or was it,
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so NFC South.
They were all 8-9 except the Saints were 6-11.
AFC East is not quite like, Dan Shaughnessy tomato can AFC East right now because of the Bills.
The Bills are still there, yeah.
The AFC East ain't great either. It's
Well,
not
the
great
AFC
shakes.
East has never been, in its history, has never been a competitive division. Because you think about it, you had the Patriots last year.
Yeah.
I guess the Bills, they still won it by 2 games. Then you had the Bills for 5 years. You had the Patriots for 20 years. Before that, you had the Bills for 10 years. Before that, you had the Dolphins. It's just kind of always been these runs. It's never really back and forth.
I actually do like Jeff Hafley a little bit as a coach. I thought he was a really good coordinator in Green Bay on the defensive side. I don't know if he has the horses right now to put together a great team, but maybe he's one of those guys that if they're patient, they give him 2 to 3 years. In the third year, could he have that program pointed in the right direction? Possibly. I really do feel like the Jets have a chance to not only have the number 1 overall pick. I think Aaron Glenn is maybe on one of the hotter seats in the league.
Do you know the last time an AFC East team, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. So obviously the Bills won it in 24, didn't win it in 25, but they'd won it consecutively, right? Do you know the last time an AFC East team won the division without winning it in consecutive years?
No.
2008, the Dolphins.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, there's no Brady.
Yeah.
The last time that the AFC East had 3 different winners in 3 years? 2000 and 2002, Dolphins, Jets, and Patriots.
Well, that's not happening this year because the Bills or the Patriots are winning that division.
The last time you had 3 before that was 98 to 2000. The Jets, the Colts, and the Dolphins.
It's rough. I mean,
the Colts have won this division more than the Jets have, by the way. Awesome fun fact.
The Jets and the Dolphins, I think, combined could have as many wins combined as the Patriots have losses this year. I don't think that's that hot to say that.
Because I pulled up the AFC East page and now we're doing fun facts. Do you know where the Jets rank in division titles all time in the AFC East? Keep in mind, 14 division for most of its existence.
5th.
They are tied for 5th with the Houston Oilers.
Oh, nice.
The Houston Oilers have won the AFC East as many times as the New York Jets.
Warren Moon slinging it around for the AFC East.
That's right. And yeah, the Houston Oilers have not been in the AFC East since I think 1970. It was the AFL East at the time.
All right, let's get back to the phones. Jeff is in Maine. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, what's going on, guys? So I got a couple things. One, been a while since I've called, so to update you on how Efton Chisholm Island did as part of the only Catch-22 fantasy football segment. Got off to a rough start, 1-3, finished 5th out of 10 at I believe it was 8-5. So finished 7-2, which we will take. Going to need a new name for next year, but we got time for that. Speaking of the Jags and our favorite sounds in sports, one of my all-time favorite sounds was when the Pats played the Jags. And, I mean, it's true across a lot of sports when there's a big moment, but you could even hear it on the broadcast when Steph went up and swatted that pass and the crowd just absolutely erupted. If I ever come across that, I am watching that 10 times in a row just to listen to it.
Yeah, the crowd roar is the best sound in sports across all of it.
We need to bring back the crowd roar on broadcasts.
Right.
Like TV broadcasts, they want you to hear the announcers instead of the crowd, which is the exact opposite of what it should be. Like, let's hear the crowd, not whoever is play-by-play giving his iconic call that we all care so much about.
I don't know about that, Jim.
Yeah, shut up, Romo.
So
he loves to talk. He loves to talk too. He talks over the moment all the time.
He's a big fan of it.
Yeah.
And then in terms of pads cracking together, I know I've brought it up on this before, but that one time that James Devlin and Tremaine Edmonds hit each other in the hole in Buffalo, and it was just like they each ran into a brick wall. I mean, it was the only time I've seen two people run at each other full speed, and they both just stopped in their tracks when they hit each other. There was no win. I mean, I guess James Devlin kind of won because he stopped him, but still. Anyway, that's all I got, and I will aspire to represent Catch-22 better in the fantasy league next year. Thanks, guys.
Love it. Thanks for the call, Jeff. I appreciate it. Mark is back. Mark's in Connecticut. What's up, Mark?
Hey, guys. It's been a little while, probably before the draft, so I just wanted to go over a couple of things with you guys. The Eli Reardon pick, Evan, if I remember correctly, listening to you on it, you didn't think that they were going to pick him.
No.
That wasn't their kind of guy, which is kind of weird because, I mean, he's got the size. I mean, if he puts on, like he says he wants to, if he puts on 10 pounds, I think he's going to be a really good athlete in this league and in the offense. And then the other one was a sneaky, really good pick is the Alabama running back towards the end of the draft. I think he's actually going to be a little bowling ball, rolling through there. I think he's going to be pretty good on that. And then the last thing I wanted to say is I know we're talking about Patriots, but what's your take on the Giannis Antetokounmpo take?
Another basketball.
Another Celtics call.
I appreciate that, Mark.
Would you make the trade, Evan and Alex? Would you make the trade? Last thing, we need to get 98.5 the Sports Hub down here in Connecticut, Alex. I miss listening to it all the time up in Massachusetts because that's where I'm from. But, I know I have it on the app, but it's just, I wish that we had a station down here because, it's awesome. So
thanks for the call, Mark. I appreciate it. We'll get to the Giannis thing in a second, even though people hate when we talk about basketball. But to his first couple questions. By the way, Jess's mom, she lives down in Connecticut still, where Jess grew up. She watches a simulcast all the time on NBC Sports.
That's right. You can do that too.
Yeah, she's big with that and put it on in the background when she's, putzing around the house or whatever. Eli Reardon, that one shocked me. Like I had kind of, jotted him down on my list as a guy that might fit them. And I don't feel like I was totally off base because Elliot Wolf came out after the draft and admitted that there was some healthy debate about that pick. So I don't think I was totally off base in terms of what they thought. The one thing that I think, that I probably should have just ignored kind of the chatter about it and gone with my gut. I do think they really have emphasized catch radius as something that they want to highlight. And he has a big hands, like almost 11-inch hands, above average catch radius, obviously, long kid, tall kid. I think that element of it probably pushed it over the edge, and with some of the concerns that they maybe had about his play demeanor and his blocking, not superseding the athletic profile and the catch radius. But it does feel like catch radius, and I don't know exactly if this would apply to wide receivers too, but Drake May, catch radius, that seems to be a thing. Like they want to look at guys that are a little bit longer, that have a little bit more of a quarterback-friendly frame, a little bit more quarterback-friendly targets, which I think makes sense based off the way Drake May throws the ball, especially when he drives the ball. Sometimes he puts a little bit of air under it and can overthrow the ball just a little bit, and you can see it in your head. A Matt Collins going up and catching the ball, right? Over his head for Drake May and bringing those passes in. So I think that was a big part of what ultimately won out on Eli Reardon was the way the board fell at tight end and the measurables, athleticism, catch radius, things like that. So I think that ultimately is what won the day. Along these same lines here, it's an email from Noah in Toronto. I'm glad he emailed in about this because somebody put me on the spot, Alex, a couple of days ago. How we like to say to put a name to the claim. Yeah. Right. So I have been saying that, Caleb Lumu would not have been the guy I picked at 28. So then somebody said to me, well, who would you have picked? Right. If you're going to say that, you have to put a name to the claim. Very fair, clap back. Like if I say it to you, then I gotta, practice what I preach. I think what makes this one so difficult is it kind of stumped me. It did. Like, what would I have done there? What makes this one so difficult to me is if you were dead set on taking a tackle, there was only one tackle that you could have taken. Right. So if that was really how they felt like they had to go about this draft, then they were it wasn't really much of a decision. Like there was one guy left. So they took the last guy. It's easy to sit here and say, oh, I would have traded down. I would have traded out of the pick. They traded up and got Caleb Lomu. if it were me, like I think that there were guys on the board at that time that I just felt were better players, like an Omar Cooper Jr. Potentially, or I was a big Cassius Howell guy. He ended up going like 40, so maybe I was off on where exactly he was going to go. But when I got asked that question, it was hard to answer because if you were saying that we were going to take a first round tackle, well, there was only one option. Right. So like, it wasn't like I could have pivoted to somebody else. They didn't have the luxury of sitting there with Ionichor and Lomu on the board and having the choice between the two players. But if you did you have somebody like that you like would have taken, or who was your second choice if Lomu was your first choice?
Honestly, at that point on the board, I remember thinking Akis.
Yeah.
And they got him anyway.
They got him in the second round.
That was I was kind of the same thing with the pick. Like, I don't know who else you take in that scenario.
Yeah, that's kind of how it fell to them.
It was not a good board for them.
Yeah, no,
which is what happens when you
fair.
pick at 28.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you want to do a quick Celtics minute on his Giannis question? So I have hesitations on Giannis. I do. I obviously, it's a little Danny Ainge-ish to make a trade like that, where the ceiling is probably higher if it works, right? If Giannis comes in and he's the same guy that he was, when he's healthy and he's an MVP candidate and all that kind of stuff, then it's going to have a higher ceiling than Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Right.
When's the last time that Giannis was that guy for an extended period of time? When's the last time that Giannis finished a season for the Milwaukee Bucks healthy?
It's been a minute.
2022. The 2022 playoffs against the against the Celtics, I think was the last time that Giannis went wire to wire with Milwaukee. And last year they didn't make the playoffs, obviously, so that's a little bit of a different thing. So it's kind of, we talk about it on this show all the time about football. He's kind of it's a boomer bust move. Like, it's either going to turn out that, they hit another level because Giannis is a perennial MVP candidate again, and Jason Tatum is an All-NBA player, and they have a higher ceiling as a team. There's a lot of really attractive sort of two-man game stuff that you can do with the two of those guys. If the other thing that I worry about a little bit with it, if Giannis is willing to play the role that they're going to ask him to play, he with Tatum, he's the screener, he's the role player, and I don't mean role player, I mean he's rolling to the hoop on the pick and roll, not literal role player. He's got to almost be like a de facto center, and be willing to protect the rim and play inside and do all that kind of stuff. Is that really what Giannis is? He game for that? Is that, because if he is, then I think it could be dynamite. There's also a small green teamer piece of me that just wants to go down with the ship with the Jays. We drafted them, you developed them, they've been here together for 10 years.
Well, now you have all these people that are
like that.
How do you get Giannis without trading Jalen?
I don't think you can
Derek
do that.
White, Hauser, picks, whatever.
I'm not saying, maybe you could, Brad Stevens maybe could pull off a miracle and do it in terms of the compensation, but then you have a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Jaylen Brown's already unhappy that he's not the guy.
What would be more fun? AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs, and Romeo Dobbs, or Tatum, Brown, and Giannis?
Oh man, those are two really good ones. The fandom would definitely be more fun for the Celtics, but to cover the Patriots with those three guys would be a lot of fun.
Giannis to me would be an interesting test for Joe Mazzulla, because you talk about the role Giannis is going to play. Are they going to use him as that kind of hybrid center screen role? Because I think he would thrive in that role. I think that would be a good fit. But are they going to do that, or is Joe Mazzulla going to tell him to go out to the wing and shoot threes?
No,
which he can't do.
But
he doesn't do it at a high level. Is Mazzulla going to let him cut to the basket? That's not a big part of their game, which I don't like.
But they have done that with centers. That's Keita right now.
Keita doesn't. I'm talking about slash, get the ball at the wing and put your head down and go.
Yeah,
Keita doesn't do that.
Well, but I think Keita is the guy that he sets screens and he rolls to the basket and he catches lobs and that.
We kind of heard in that press conference Brad Stevens hint that the spray and pray 3-point thing shouldn't be their identity anymore. And is Joe Mazzulla going to listen to that? I think is going to be one of the big questions this upcoming season.
I think that's regardless, though. But
adding Giannis to the mix
Giannis
would make it even more fascinating because of the way he plays.
if you add Giannis, and then we can move off of this after this. If you add Giannis, then like the blueprint there is Tatum and Giannis in a 2-man game with shooters around them.
Right.
Like then you put Pritchard in one corner, a Baylor Hauser in the other corner. Maybe Derek White's still here and he's roaming, as sort of like a fluid player that can, be in the dunker spot or be outside or whatever. But you're basically opening the court up for those two guys to play a 2-man game. And then the threes are still going to be there. Because the kick out is going to be to the 3-point shooters. Like that's still going to. So like Giannis to me is like just a much, much better version of like a Porzingis.
Yeah.
Like that's like the ideal type of thing in terms of where he's going to operate on the floor. I don't know if Giannis is a guy that wants to play in transition. He wants the ball in his hands.
Right.
So is he going to allow Tatum to be really the real trigger of the offense, and he's kind of like the pick and pop player? Like, is he going to be cool with that? I don't know, but that team would have a really, really high ceiling if everybody's healthy. There's your Celtics minute. If you hated it, you can fast forward through it. I don't care. Todd is in Gardner. What's up, Todd?
Hey, so I've already got this answer from you, but I would like this from Barth too. What do you think? Are they going to run to set up the pass? Are they going to pass to set up the run next year, or maybe something else? And I'd like to hear you guys discuss that, because it just seems to me like they're trying to be a punch-in-the-face team with run your ball down your throat and then make you pay with Drake May. So I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on that. Thanks, guys. Great show.
Thanks, Todd. Yeah, I don't know. I'm always a pass to score, run to win type of guy. That's the analytics nerd in me, right? You pass to get a lead, you pass to score points, you run the football in the fourth quarter when you have a lead and you're icing the clock. Like that's my philosophy on it. I assume when you have a quarterback like Drake May and they're talking about drafting athletic offensive linemen because they want to be able to pass block better and like all these different types of things, I would assume that. But I think that that's a very fluid question. Like I think that some games they might be more run heavy, some games they might be more pass heavy, and I think there's always going to be sort of a game plan element to what they do with that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a game plan is the best way to put it. Like I don't think it's one. I think they want to have the ability to do both, and depending on the opponent and depending on what the situation in the game is. I know it's kind of a cop-out answer, but I think they want to be able to do both.
Yeah.
That's when Josh McDaniel's offense.
That's why,
like,
I don't mean to like turn my nose up to the question, but I just don't know if that's really like I don't know if they're going into a season or going into a stretch of games and being like, we need to establish the run today. Like I don't know if that's necessarily how they think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I think they might go into a game thinking that. I don't think they're going into the season thinking like we got to establish the run first in all these games they play. They're going to do it based on the matchups.
All right. Sal is in Connecticut. What's up, Sal?
Hey, guys. How are you? Great show. Last week, I think it was, I think, Alex, you were wondering whether or not there's a conditional, a pick regarding the A.J. Brown trade, obviously, whether a trade can be conditioned on the Patriots making the playoffs. I took a look at the rule book. I couldn't see anything, but one thing I did see, which is probably the answer, is the commissioner has to approve all trades. So obviously if Philadelphia and the Pats agree to something that's conditioned on a playoff success of the Patriots, then and they're okay with it, the commissioner has to approve it. And if he does, then voila, there you go. You've got it. That's my understanding. I don't know if you saw anything differently. But I did want to, I don't know if you saw anything to that effect, Alex. Did you at all? Or?
Well, yeah, the commissioner, thanks for the call, Sal. Obviously, the commissioner approves all trades. 99.9% of the time, there's never an issue. I can't really remember a time that there was an issue in an NFL trade that the commissioner...
No, somebody sent me one.
Was it Sam Bradford? There was a quarterback trade. I was just trying to look it up.
Yes. Sam Bradford was contingent on the team.
No, that was a long time ago, though, right? That was,
that was a quarterback.
Yeah, and that was a quarterback. The only time, and I swear I'm not trying to talk basketball, the only time that I remember a commissioner vetoing a trade was Chris Paul to the Lakers.
And that was a little different because the league owned one of the teams.
Yeah, they owned, the Hornets? Whatever team it was that the team was at that point. I don't remember that happening in the NFL, that the commissioner vetoed a trade.
No,
in
not
our
off the top
at
of my
least
head.
like off the top of my head. Yeah. Eldred, what's up, Eldred?
Hey, Evan. Hey, Bart. How y'all doing?
Good.
Hey, I got a question for you because I know everybody keeps saying I hated that Lomo pick too, but they said they're going to get him to transfer to the right side and learn to play right? Okay. What if Crownovers prove out to be a better right tackle? Then what you do with Lomo? Because ain't nobody asking that question.
Yeah. No, it's a
wondering.
I mean, it'd be a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have. Thanks for the call, Eldred. That's exactly what I was about to say. That's a first world problem if I've ever heard one. We have too many good offensive linemen. I don't know if we're there with Crownover yet to say that we have to start thinking about it like that. But is there a world? It's always when I was talking to Caleb Bloom, who's offensive line coach at Utah, I was talking to him about how they settled on Fano on the right side and Lomu on the left, and he just simply said best five. We just wanted to get our best five out there and where they all were comfortable and where they all could play at a high level, and that ended up shaking out that way. Is there a chance that the Patriots down the line, I know this is not going to happen in 2026, but down the line, their best five involves all three of those players, Lomu, Crownover, Campbell? I guess in theory it's possible, so probably one of Lomu and Campbell kicks inside in that situation. I think we're a ways away from that, but that would probably be the answer. I don't think Crownover has the body type to play inside. He's cut like a tackle. Like he's tall, he's heavier, he's more upright. I don't know if he's got the bend and that ability to play inside consistently. So it's probably going to be one of Lomu or Campbell, but if that happens, then they probably have a pretty good offensive line because they hit on 3 draft picks on the offensive line. Sean in Vancouver is with you on the Seattle thing. Week 1.
Okay.
He says it's for selfish reasons partially, but he doesn't want them to be the first game either. I think there's something to be said. I know they lost the opener last year and then went on and went 14-3 and made the Super Bowl. I just think that there's something to be said for getting off to a good start to seasons. I still think that matters statistically. There's been some outliers recently, but there was a time recently where teams that started 0-2 never made the playoffs.
Right.
That was like a death sentence. I don't know if that's as much recently. I think it's gotten a little bit better on that front, but I think that's still possible. Do you have any other schedule predictions while we're on it? I honestly have not seen it, but do we? I assume they're opening against Seattle. I don't think Kirk would throw that out there if he didn't have a pretty good source on it. So opening the season against Seattle, week 10 in Germany, probably a week 11 bye. I think Thanksgiving is out.
Unless they get that random
the night before, which I hate, by the way. This is something that's starting to bug me about the NFL. It's, the whole pigs get slaughtered.
It should. No, this is a real problem.
So
I can do that whole rant right now if you want.
Okay, you can do it in a second. I'll set you up for it. And I swear to God, I'm doing this the third time. I'm not trying to just to do this to talk about basketball, but there's certain nights and days that it's okay to let the other sports have their day. Like Christmas. Christmas has always been an NBA holiday.
It's not even that though.
The night before Thanksgiving has always been it's not a football day. It's you go out with your high school friends at the bar in your hometown and you get drunk.
Something that you love to do.
Yeah, I love it. It's on the top of my list. But that's that's what you do. Black Friday here in Boston is Red Sox, Bruins Celtics doubleheader. Right? That's Black Friday in Boston. The NFL doesn't have to own everything. So it doesn't have to run everything.
The other leagues are relevant to this because the NFL is still king. My bigger issue is part of what's great about the NFL is the rarity of it. That's always been what's great. And in NFL Sunday, even to your point, if I talk about an NBA Saturday, that doesn't actually mean anything.
Right.
Right. An NFL Sunday, and they've already said F you, kick rocks to the 425 window. It's maybe 3 games. One of them's always the Cardinals getting their doors blown off.
They're watering down the Sunday product.
They have said F you to the 4 o'clock window for years now. Now, you're talking about it shouldn't be on every day of the week. I get they want to be on every day of the week, but you're getting rid of, and maybe the NFL is too big to fail. Maybe I don't want them to test it.
Yeah.
Look, they're never going to be baseball playing 162 games, but one of baseball's biggest problems is there's no urgency in watching baseball. The regular season games don't mean anything because the season's long enough. Enough teams make the playoffs, and it's on every day. So, and again, this is an extreme example, but they're going to go to 18 games in 20 weeks. They're going to start playing 5 days a week, and they're going to probably add another team to the playoffs. They're watering down the regular season. You're going to have less games on Sundays. They're spread out more, and now you're doubling up on the primetime games. The special thing about it's prime time. It's everybody. It's all eyes on you. That's a cool thing. The entire football world is watching this game. And, oh, no, we're going to have Monday night games on up against each other on different networks. That takes out the whole – it's called a standalone window. It's not a standalone game now. And you just know they're going to line up to do this on Thursday nights too, by the way. The breadcrumbs are there for that.
At least stagger the start times.
So here's and I know people hate it. If you're going to do the primetime doubleheader, it has to be 7 and 10 o'clock. For the whole point of what a primetime game is.
Well, that's like NBA coast to coast. It's, there's an East Coast game and there's a West Coast
Let
game.
them be in the, but basketball, we don't do that exclusive window thing because there's always a game on, right?
Yeah.
I guess maybe like Saturday night, Sunday night, whatever. Yeah. But I am a little worried about them watering it down.
I'm worried about, I think the Sunday watering down is a very good point.
Not just taking away from the Sunday slate, but also Thursday night, Sunday all day, Monday night.
Yeah.
And you want to do a couple of Saturday games late in the year when college football is over.
I do kind of like those.
Fine, right?
I do kind of like those.
And because it's holidays. A cool standalone window, right? The whole calendar's gone.
Yeah.
But like now it's, all right, we're going to open on Wednesday, then play Thursday. Are they doing a Friday game this year? They did that last year.
It's the Thursday game. It's the one.
Okay.
It's Australia.
But then like they're trying to play some more Saturdays. They're going to play Sunday. They're going to have the doubleheader on Monday. And then, okay, when you get to Christmas and New Year's, it's going to be like four games a week. And it's just, no, it's supposed to be an event. And when you play every night, it's not an event anymore.
So I would be.
And maybe I'm yelling about nothing because it's the NFL. People are always going to watch.
No, people are always going to watch.
But the other part about it, sorry, one more thing.
It's okay.
It makes the product worse. The players need time to rest and prepare. The teams need time to rest and prepare. What is going to Australia in week 1 going to do to the Rams and the Niners, who, by the way, also have to go to Mexico City?
Like the Niners got mad that they were going to Australia, and the league said, F you, now you're also going to Mexico.
You got to, and profit above all, fine, it's a business.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it to the point. Remember some of those Christmas games last year they forced on short weeks, and it was bad football.
So I think
you got to give these teams an opportunity to actually rest and prepare for these games.
Agreed on all fronts. I think that the one thing, and I'm sure that our listeners would back this up. We don't do this because we're with the Patriots and covering the Patriots games.
Yeah.
But I know from my wife and my family, like Red Zone Sunday is like what they do.
Right.
They sit there on their couch on Sundays and they watch the Patriots, but they also watch Red Zone. And if you start watering down the Sunday slate more and more and more, now Red Zone as an entity becomes less and less interesting, right? Like in itself becomes less interesting. So if I was the league, I think Red Zone is one of the most important elements of this whole thing. It ties together fantasy, it ties together gambling, and it ties together like diehard fans that want to see as much football as possible on a Sunday.
Right.
If you take that slate and now there's fewer games in that slate, there's fewer good games in that slate. Like there were some Sundays last year where the Sunday slate just kind of stunk. Like there wasn't any good matchups. Like there wasn't a lot of good
5 games.
Right. And so I would worry about that element of it too. Like Sunday still needs to be the day. Like Sunday still needs to have some real ammo, like some real punching power.
The thing you always heard about the NFL is the NFL is so powerful that it owns a day of the week, which was true.
Yeah.
Don't give that up.
Well, guess what? Now the Patriots might open the season on a Wednesday, and then they're going to have a Thursday game in Australia, and then they're going to have a Sunday and Monday game.
I sent you a joke earlier. Somebody tweeted out all the holidays the NFL's playing on us, and the Patriots are playing on every single one of them. They'll have a team play New Year's Eve and New Year's Day if they think they'll make money off it.
The Wednesday before Thanksgiving is the one that I just can't. Like, why? Just why? All right. That's going to do it for today's show. We'll be back next week here on Catch-22. PU tomorrow. at its normal time at noon. Schedule release tomorrow night. I think it's going to hit social media at around 7:30. I know the show
official launch is 8 o'clock.
Is 8 o'clock, but they're letting teams go early because it's really like a social media event. Like it's not really a TV event. It's more about content on social media and just like getting the schedule on your phone and things like that. So tomorrow will be the big day. I'm sure there'll be leaks earlier in the day that we cannot confirm here. So don't come calling on that. But we'll talk to you guys tomorrow on PU and next week here on Catch-22. We'll see you then.
Hey, this is Deuce. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure you like us wherever you get your podcasts, like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, make sure you follow us on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else that we do here at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.